Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. Today's July 19th, and we are going back to the Sunshine and Unicorns that the New York legislature created effective June 1st, 1970, when all would be beautiful and all women would be able to access safe and legal abortions. Carmen Rodriguez was 31 years old when she underwent a 14-week saline abortion at Lincoln Hospital in New York City. Now, saline abortion involves using one of those great big amniocentesis needles to pull out as much amniotic fluid as possible and replace it with a strong, sterile salt solution. The baby swallows this, breathes it in, it breaks up the baby's blood vessels, and the baby bleeds to death internally. Then after it dies, the woman goes into labor. Now, this was an abortion technique that had been banned in Japan and the Soviet Union because of how risky it was to mothers. Even if you did not accidentally inject the saline into the mother's bloodstream, still some of it could get into her bloodstream and cause organ damage, particularly to her brain and heart. Carmen had a history of rheumatic heart disease. Keep that in mind. After the saline was injected, it got into Carmen's bloodstream. This caused fluid accumulation in her lungs. Carmen went into a coma from which she never recovered, and she died on July 19th of 1970, leaving behind her husband and her 2 young children. After Carmen's death, a militant Puerto Rican group, the Young Lords, swung into action. They pointed out that doctors at Lincoln Hospital knew that Carmen had heart problems and failed to take proper precautions. And again, this is a valid complaint. They were using a technique that, first of all, was just too risky to be using in the first place. 2 countries had already banned it because of the high risk to the mother. And then they used it on a woman who was high risk because she had heart issues in the first place. They demanded the resignation of Dr. Joseph J. Smith, the hospital chief of obstetrics, and actually went so far as to remove him from the hospital and create such a disturbance that 27 doctors staged a walkout until the protests could be brought under control. Now, Merle Goldman, spokeswoman of an abortion advocacy organization, did not share the Young Lords' outrage. She did not merely have a beef with their methods. She thought they were wrong to be upset in the first place. She said she hoped that Carmen's death wouldn't deter other women from undergoing abortions. She touted abortion's reputed safety and stressed that her group was lobbying against proposed health department regulation of abortion practice. So, July 1970, legal abortion in New York is less than 1 month old, and already the whole idea behind legalization, which was that there would be state oversight, which would make it safe. No, we don't need the state oversight to make it safe. Well, if you didn't need the state oversight when it was illegal, what was the point of legalizing it? Basically, they wanted illegal abortion, but without the doctors getting into any trouble, or the people who refer the women for abortions getting into any trouble if something bad happened. New York City Chief Medical Examiner Milton Halpern seemed to be a little bit more leaning towards the Young Lords. He expressed concerns that ill-equipped and poorly staffed freestanding legal abortion facilities were posing a danger to women. And New York City health officials noted that just within the city's hospitals alone, there were 3 maternal abortion deaths during the first 20 days of abortion utopia. So, the 1970 liberalization of abortion in New York made it an abortion mecca until Roe versus Wade told abortionists that they could legally set up shop anywhere in the country. In addition to Carmen, there are a lot of other women I know of that had the dubious benefit of dying from the newfangled safe and legal kind of abortion in pre-Roe New York, and if you follow the links below, you'll get some information about that.